So our next speaker is Andy Wright, Managing Director of Cullimore Dutton here in Chester. Andy's going to tell us some interesting things about collaboration, and he's got an interesting concept that he's going to launch today, which will be followed up by a dinner with limited spaces. So you will need to sign up for that. Jude Kenyon will be able to provide some more information on that. Following Andy's talk, we're going to go downstairs to the kitchen and have some lunch. So over to you, Andy.
Thanks, Nick. Afternoon, everyone. Before I start, if I walk across the stage today and I'm making a few noises or I look a bit silly, I did the 10k run for Chester yesterday. A few colleagues and I did it. Turns out I'm not as young as I thought I was, so forgive me. As Nick said, my name's Andy Wright and I'm the Managing Director of Cullimore Dutton Solicitors. And I guess it works. Good. When you think about Cullimore Dutton, you may have a perception about us. Some good, some bad, some ugly, and for everybody else, Cullimore Dutton who. So today I'm going to talk to you about two things. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Cullimore Dutton and our vision. And secondly, I'm going to talk to you about a challenge that I think we're all facing in the professional business community right now, which is attracting, retaining and developing our colleagues. I think this is a problem that we need to solve together because in our experience we're losing talent to larger cities. And I think if we work together we can make Chester the go-to city for professionals to work in. So that's what I'd like to speak to you about today. So let me start with the why. Why is attracting and retaining, developing colleagues important to Cullimore Dutton, and why do I think it's important to you? Well, about 12 months ago, we sat down as a new leadership team, try not to fall over here, and we sat down to say, well, why do we do what do we do? What's our vision on how we're going to build our business moving forward? And at that time, we really didn't have a good answer as to what our vision was. Yes, we were custodians of our business. Yes, we wanted to make money. And yes, we wanted to do a great job for our clients. But that wasn't the reason that was going to build our business moving forward. So what do you do in those situations? We started to ask our clients, why do you use our service? And the answers that we got back was quality of service, you've got some great people there, we've always used you, which are all great answers, but it's not something that we can build a business on. So what do you do when you don't get the answer that you want to a question? You ask a different question. So we asked ourselves, well, what impact does our service have on people that use us? And again, we spoke to clients and we spoke to colleagues, and the answers that we started to get were, well, we use you because you've helped us buy our first family home, where we started a family. We've used you because you get our life back on track. We've used you because you've solved a problem that we didn't know how to fix. Or the answers were, you helped us start a career in law and we couldn't have asked for a better start. And so from those words, it became clear what the challenge was for us to do as a business. And that was to change lives. And the lives that we want to change are our colleagues, clients and community. So this is why attracting, developing and retaining colleagues is important to us. This is who we are. This is our business. This is our DNA. So just on a practical level, what does that mean for those working in Cullimore Dutton? It means lots of different things. But for our junior colleagues, what it means is this is our business effectively. This is how we manage our business on 5 key pillars. And I won't go through each one because I'm sure one or two of you will fall asleep right now. But for our colleagues that are in the junior cohort, they all have a 12-month development plan under each of the pillars. And the idea behind that is that our aim is to make them better business people. And our view of the world is, if we make them better business people, we will help to change their lives. So I've explained why retaining and developing colleagues is important to us, because it's part of our business. But why do I think it's important to your business? Why do I think it's important to our city? Well, I think currently we have a challenge in recruitment, in sort of attracting and retaining colleagues within the city, as more and more people seem to be going to the larger cities. So let me tell you about some of the challenges that I think we need to overcome. Recruitment. We've just heard previously that the labour market is the shortages at the moment, and I don't think we're any different within this city, especially within the professional business community. We're seeing more talent go to the larger cities, and it's being harder to recruit people. And I think one way as a collective we can deal with that challenge is to build a community within Chester that people want to be a part of. I think the second challenge that we face within all our businesses is hybrid working. Hybrid working is great, and it's something that we've done at Cullimore Dutton over the last 2 years, and we will continue to do. But what it does mean is that we're seeing more people going to work in Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham and London, because perhaps I can get a higher salary and I only have to go to the office once, twice a month, so why wouldn't I? The final challenge that I think we face is learning and development. I imagine most of you, if not all of you, within your businesses have a training and development plan to help your colleagues to become better business people. But what if you don't? Money is not always the answer in my experience. I hear what's being said about the inflationary increases and the pressures, but longer term, money is not just the answer to retaining and developing colleagues. In my view, it's about building a sense of community, a sense of belonging. And I think if we don't do that as a business community, we will lose talent to larger cities, and I think that's something that we need to address. So I've explained to you why attracting, retaining, developing colleagues is important to Cullimore Dutton, and hopefully I've given you food for thought as to why I think it's important for our city. In fact, I've probably not told you anything you don't already know. So what's the answer? As ever with a challenge, there isn't a silver bullet. There's not one thing that we can do. But I think as a collective, there is something that we can do. And I'd like to suggest that to you now. I think we should go dating. In fact, I think we should go on several dates. What do I mean by that? Well, what happens when you take someone on a date? And for those of you smiling, don't. Well, I would suggest there's 3 things that happen when you take someone on a date. You ask and you get asked questions. This helps you build a conversation and hopefully a rapport with the other person. Secondly, you learn about the other person, what they like, what they don't like, and what's going on in their world. And thirdly, hopefully you have an enjoyable time. So so what if we applied this to our professional business community? But rather than calling it dates, let's call it coffee dates, where colleagues from different industry sectors job shadow each other, maybe for a morning, maybe for a day, maybe for an hour or 2. What benefit would this bring to our city, our colleagues, our community? Well, let's say one of our financial advisors spent some time with a tax expert within the city. Would it make our financial advisor an expert in tax? No. But would it help them to understand the world of a tax accountant, and would it help them to become more of a rounded business person? I think so. And what if a local estate agency spent time with an architect? Would it help them to understand the architect's world more? Yes. Would it make them an expert in their world? No. But would it make them a better business person? I think so. Or let's say we held a Chester City's Professional Training Day, where we learn from each other how to build successful businesses. Would it make us experts in every area of business? No. But would it make us better business people? I think so. And let's say we embrace this idea across the city, without any agenda, but just with the common goal to assist professionals to become the best person they can be. Could this help attract, retain, develop all the colleagues across Chester, and help Chester to become the go-to city for professionals to work in? I think so. So, with that in mind, and the challenges that I've spoken about today, where I think we are losing talent to larger cities, and I think Chester can become the go-to city for professionals to work in. I'd like you to get involved with Chester Bid and Cullimore Dutton in a project where we start to share knowledge across the city, where we start to work together with the aim of making Chester the go-to city for professionals to work in. Now there's a free dinner, so I'll say that again, there's a free dinner, right? on the 26th of April. And at that dinner, we're inviting one representative from each company that's interested and sees value in what we talked about today to join us to discuss how we can start sharing knowledge across this city with a view to making Chester the go-to city for professionals in Chester. Thank you for listening, and I enjoy working with you in the future.